All right, team. This is your host, Charles Becco from Brooklyn Traders, and I am here to talk about your favorite subject and mine's the stock market. Let's begin. All right, so what do we have here, right? Kind of a sloppier chart on Qs here. Let me just try to find something that makes sense. Okay. Let me just get rid of that. Let's look on the daily time frame, right? Yeah, it looks kind of like we are kind of in like a phase 4 market phase, right? We have the 8 passing under the 21, the 8 coming under the 50. The price got rejected from the underside of the 50 and closed towards the low. We do have some support here around 364. We do have a squeeze that fired downwards. But we kind of had this bounce here the day before. The squeeze says that it is good for $9 from here. Right, so we are talking about, about 355 potentially. All right, so, not really bad. Maybe come down to the lower level here. You see what looks kind of like a double top up here, or not really a head and shoulders, right? But yeah, look for a retest of 355 on the QQQ. Let's look at Tesla. All right. Yeah, just not good. 8 under the 21, the 21 about to be under 50. And we topped out close to around 300 and we just kissed it and we're going right down. I don't really, we closed this gap here that was set on 235. We have news out of China that there are discounting models, so I don't know. There is some support here at 226, but shoot, we could come all the way down to 210, maybe even to the 200, who knows? All right, so not looking fantastic on Tesla here. Again, clear stage 4 market phase. You do see some buying here, right? But the fact that we broke at the lows here, right? We had some buying here, buying there, but then, we have a fully engulfing candle, right? So the next level here, okay, and there is a little gap here, right? So let me see. I think that is the gap. Yeah, there's a gap there, right? So, look for the gap fill at possibly 222 before we could, get some kind of support of Rooney, right? 222, 209. That's what we got on Tesla. Microsoft up next. Microsoft looks a little bit better here. As you can see, I kind of drew a line here at this 318 support that will look like we are supporting. Again, 8 under the 21, 21 under the 50, not good. Microsoft and Apple from earlier this year and last year were two of the strongest names in the market, right? So it makes all the sense to me that, again, Microsoft hit an all-time high, also Apple, okay, in this, kind of environment, right? But I don't know. If you're looking at this 3-year chart, some people are gonna look at this as a double top, but again, it's hard to argue when you make all-time highs, right? But if you look at this weekly candle, right, here's some big trouble. Weekly MACD crossed to the downside with you can say declining power on the histogram there. So doesn't look fantastic, right? But I don't know. I just would not be worried about Microsoft. It's like literally one of the strongest stocks in the world at this point, right? So we all use Office 365. I probably have 2 or 3 accounts myself, so not looking for Microsoft to roll over and die, right? But look for to give some weight back. Again, how much weight is it going to give back? I'm not really sure. But it's just generally not a good sign when you have the 8 under the 21, and 21 going under the 50. Not a great sign. You got this gigantic gap here, at around the 200. So, I mean, $21-30 to the downside. I'm not saying that it can't happen, right? But we would kind of need a lot to go to get there, right? We are building some strength here. There's a monthly squeeze here on Microsoft to the upside. So, I mean, just overall, I think we're at a phase in the market where we are, just kind of giving back some of the gains from just this, right? I mean, all the way from like January, just straight pump, right? So yeah, it just makes sense that we, give back some gains, consolidate, but I don't know, for the last 2-3 years, the time around September to October has been kind of volatile, right? So, just hasn't, just from what I remember and what I feel, you know, I don't recall September and October being very hot months for tech anyway, right? But guys, don't be surprised if we kind of, oh, there's another gap, right? Oh, look, there's a gap right there. So again, gap fill at 316. I should start marking out some of these gaps, here. This is why I actually had these things, right? Originally when I made them, right? It's to indicate where the gaps are, right? So let me help myself out right there. There's some gaps there, right? So again, just at some point look for some of these gaps to fill. Definitely if we are able to kind of break this level here, 315, and opens the door for 300 and a test of the 200 on Microsoft. Next up, the strongest name in the game, Apple, and yeah, I mean, clear breakdown, just a clear breakdown here on Apple, right? And so, again, is Apple gonna roll over and die? I'm not really sure. Okay, is there a gap here? There's no gap there, or the gap was filled. So let me just get rid of this. There is a gap that is here, so let's just move this, right? There's definitely a huge gap right there. There is a gap here, right? So let's just maybe move this. All right. Sometimes I like to leave these things on so we can see where the previous gaps are, right? But I mean, just lots of support to the downside, right? You're talking 176, you're talking 170 there, you're talking 167. I mean, again, stage 4 market phase, right? For all the Brooklyn traders out there, make sure you watch the class on the market phases, right? Clear stage 4 market phase in the market right now on pretty much everything, right? So, I mean, it'll take quite a bit for us to get down here, but I mean, we've seen these things in the past, right? Where you push, and then all of a sudden there's a big waterfall, right? So, I mean, the fact that we kind of peaked above, we made all-time highs, then we kind of got squeezed down. I mean, it's kind of good that we made all-time highs, but then, just what concerns me, just as somebody who's been a trader for a long time, right? Anytime you kind of peak above all-time highs or peak above the high and then kind of you're going right back into the channel, it always makes me think that we just kind of want to come back some, right? So, again, don't be surprised if you get a retest of 176, 176, 159. Look at a fresh MACD cross to the downside on a weekly time frame on Apple, right? Did I check out Tesla? Let's just go back to Tesla real quick. Not a weekly MACD cross, right? But we have an inverted hammer here on the weekly, so just something to consider, right? Weekly MACD cross again, just something to consider, right? Yeah, so definitely expect some kind of bearish phase for the next month or so, I would say, as the market looks to kind of consolidate before a possible fall Santa rally potentially. I mean, just seasonally. All right, so that's what we got on Microsoft. Let's look at NVIDIA. I don't even have to look at this chart. Just the best stock in the game, right? I mean, my goodness. It's just kind of wild here that the MACD is just so like stretched to the downside, and we just have like movement like this, right? Yeah, let me take a look at another tool here on NVIDIA. My momentum tool is letting me know that at least on the hourly setup, expect a retest of 429, and on the daily setup, again, expect just some bearishness on NVIDIA here. Again, I mean, right now it's 6 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, August 16th, and we're up $3 pre-market, right? So, what am I saying? Well, saying that my momentum tool here is letting me know that there is some potential momentum to the downside. There's some big old gaps here. At least in the hourly, look for a retest of 430 here on NVDA. As of course it's weekly. What? Whoa! So here's something that's really concerning, right? For us to kind of. So first of all, we are in a weekly short setup, right? We are in a weekly hollow short setup here, and then we have a fresh MACD cross to the downside, right? So I mean, just using multiple tools, and you guys are watching me do a live analysis. For anybody who knows me well, I actually do not, I don't have a script, right? This is just off the dome. I'm looking. You're getting a live analysis that is recorded, right? Because I don't even know what the charts are looking like. Before I do these recordings, right? I'm actually doing the analysis live right now. I'm looking at it. And again, weekly MACD cross to the downside after this, right? So makes sense for us to kind of, give up some gains here. I mean, I'll tell you what though, again, looks again on the hourly, daily, weekly time frame, I just see weakness here. We have a weekly short setup here. Weekly MACD cross the downside, loses some power in the histogram as being represented by the change of colors. So that's what I got on NVIDIA. NVIDIA, like video game. Let's look at Meta here. Meta's been down for so long, and again, pretty much the same thing, right? Looks like the beginning of a weekly MACD cross to the downside. This is probably one of the greatest callouts ever been made. We made a video in December where we spoke about some of the names that we really liked down there at the time, and we're all over social media telling people, hey, Meta at $100. I mean, guys, I don't care what you think about Mark Zuckerberg or just some of these CEOs, right? Good people are good people. Visionaries are visionaries, right? And Meta at $100 was a steal. Okay, the valuations look good to us. We made a sparkling recommendation, and there you go. Again, kind of the same tail of the tape, right? Weakness here. Histogram, MACD cross to the downside on the weekly time frame, right? The daily looks kind of all right. I mean, the fact that you get an expansion to the downside on the MACD here, but then the price is holding above the 50. That I look at that as a good indication on the daily. Let's take a look at our momentum tool. Yeah, I mean, Meta looks pretty okay here. I mean, look for a simple retest of the 50 there at 295, 300 even, right? But I really wouldn't be worried about Meta there. Amazon, how could I forget? Amazon and Google, right? Amazon's looking pretty all right. I'm still looking for Amazon to really kind of wake up, right? Just in general, like I feel like Amazon has just kind of been like sleeping. Right? like the fact that we are above the weekly 200 here, and the A is passing over to 21. If you notice here, no weekly MACD cross on Amazon, right? So, for me, I look at these as accumulation levels on Amazon. For the next 10 to 15 years, Amazon is one of my top picks, right? Amazon's a fantastic company, fantastic run. Really love the management. Look for a gap fill here for sure. Okay. As you know, the broader market looks to kind of turn itself around, right? So look for a retest of 133 and 130, 129 on Amazon. Goog. I mean, the charts look pretty much the same, right? Daily MACD cross to the downside, but we're holding up pretty okay. 8 over the 50. 21 over 50, 8 over the 21. I mean, we're stacked positively here, right? So, you know, for all of the rumors that ChatGPT was going to be the end of Google, I mean, maybe it will be, but not today. I mean, you know, the daily chart looks pretty all right. You know, weekly chart looks pretty all right. Here's Goog here. I mean, we're just holding up pretty well. I mean, we do see the tool says, you know, expect some kind of weakness on the hourly, but hourly schmourly, you know. I mean, to me, like Goog just doesn't look like it really wants to go down. Again, simple retest 128, 125 on Goog. I mean, you know, there's a huge open gap there, but I mean, just Goog is just it's been pretty solid. You know, it's been pretty stable. And let's look at Bitcoin real quick. I haven't looked at Bitcoin in a bit. Weekly MACD cross to the downside, right? Falling strength on the histogram, but I don't know. I just don't feel like, you know, aside from all these fancy tools and all this, right? I mean, if you're just looking at the chart of Bitcoin, right, it just, to me, it just doesn't read that it just wants to go down. You know, we've had plenty of support here between 20,000 and 30. And again, there are people that are just buying the dip here. And the fact that we're making a very clear and like a very clear higher low, right? I mean, the lows are down here, and yeah, we're just making higher lows here on Bitcoin, right? So, you know, I'm somebody who at times likes to short Bitcoin, you know, via ways, right? But it's like a quick hit, right? You know, I'm talking about taking Bitcoin for a few points to the downside, 2-3% at a time, right? Yeah, Bitcoin just does not strike me as something that wants to go down. I mean, let's look at Mara, right, and Coin, right? I mean, same thing, right? I mean, these guys just do not seem like they just want to really go down. I mean, sure. I mean, could Mara drop 30-40%? Sure, it can. You know, does Mara and by proxy Riot, do these guys look like they want to die? My answer is no. Right, I'm seeing a chart that's like kind of curling and flattening out, kind of the same way like I feel about Tilray, right? I know Tilray looks like hell. Okay, I understand. I'm sure some people are like, but Charles, Tilray, guys, Tilray's time's coming. Okay, okay. Again, still in this huge channel here on Uber. I'm just flying through some names here. I mean, guys, okay. Here's my top pick, right? I think right here is where you buy AMC. My opinion, right? If you like AMC, if you're an ape, right? If you look at this long-term chart, right? We are making higher lows. Okay, I mean, yeah, there was some FUD there, right? There was talking about some conversion of some shares, yada yada yada. To me, guys, this is where we buy MC. Okay, my opinion. Okay, let me see here. Oh yeah, we have a high-low long setup here on AMC, right? So, my opinion, you know, go long AMC here. You know, if you like it, buy some shares, 100%. You know, you see, the issue with most people is that you guys want to buy AMC not AMC. You guys want to buy stocks typically when everybody else is buying, right? So when you see these and you see that, when really you should be buying things when it's like in the pits, right? So that's why some of my top picks are like really sleepy names that no one cares about, like at least now AMC and Tilray. Another one of my secret picks are Rite Aid, right? Now I will not gonna lie here. I did buy some shares at 250, and I'm looking to buy some more here. Okay, down here. For reasons, I think Rite Aid. To me, I see this weekly squeeze forming. You did have a daily squeeze that fired off there, and yeah. Look, there's a Rite Aid that's by me. To me personally, like as a consumer, there's no difference between a Rite Aid and a CVS. When I go in there, I do see customers in there. I don't see a vast difference between Rite Aid and CVS in terms of service, in terms of quality, in terms of cleanliness, in terms of organization of the store. I don't see a reason why the two can't merge, because I literally cannot tell the difference between a Rite Aid and CVS. And I dare you to walk into either one of the stores and be able to tell me like, oh, Rite Aid is like this and CVS is like that, you know? I mean, I guess what CVS has like the copy center. I mean, okay, they could put a copy center in Rite Aid. That's not really that big of a deal, my opinion. I had a construction company and a technology company where we used to service those printers inside of the CVS's. I mean, to put a copy center inside of a Rite Aid is not that much of a big deal. But yeah, this is one of my picks here. Okay, I like the volume here that we've seen. Okay, sure, we'll come down, yada yada yada, whatever. Okay, I like this initial thrust of volume. Okay, that's a good signal to me. I mean, just look at this volume here, right? Just look at that volume candle, right? The old adage is volume precedes price, all right? Never forget that. Okay, so video went a little bit longer than I expected, right? But gave you a couple names there, maybe a few trade ideas. Again, this is not investment advice. I'm just speaking about my own personal opinion about things for reasons. But yeah, this is Charles Becco, Brooklyn Traders, and see you again soon, team. Hey, thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you enjoy this content, please check out our website at www.brooklyntraders.net. That is www.brooklyntraders.net. Thanks, and God bless.